Moving closer to getting a workable climate action plan that stands up to legal scrutiny. County staff is reviewing progress tomorrow on a plan that has the potential to change the way the county grows. Here's KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson.
We're in Escondido, right across from the transit center.
J.P. Thaberge stands next to the West Valley Parkway.
We have a brewery, brew pub over here. We have a bunch of retail down that way, all within walking distance. We have a supermarket, we have fast food, we have restaurants.
But the focal point for Thaberge is the new apartment complex across the street from the transit center. He says it's the kind of development urban planners talk about when they discuss smart growth, the idea that clustering housing and services is the way to plan for the future.
In the same footprint that you might have like 3 or 4 homes, because this is actually not even that big a lot, you can have 250 units. And the advantage is that people who do live here, you know, they're not paying rock bottom prices. These are nice units.
It is exactly the opposite of the kind of housing development major builders have spent a lot of money pushing for in San Diego County. Sprawling backcountry housing tracts that plop homes into rural parts of the county would add huge numbers of vehicle trips to local roadways. That hurts state-mandated efforts to reduce carbon emissions because cars and trucks are the biggest source of greenhouse gases. That's why urban developments like the one in Escondido are exactly what environmentally conscious planners see as the future.
Less driving, more of this means less driving, less pollution locally, and also less contribution to greenhouse gases, which is what the state is desperately trying to get every jurisdiction to do.
San Diego County is hoping to be carbon neutral before the state requires it in 2045. That's where the County Climate Action Plan can play a key role. That planning document will draw the roadmap that will help the county grow and reduce the amount of greenhouse gases that are emitted. San Diego County Supervisor Nathan Fletcher says the county has famously tried to do the bare minimum when it comes to building a climate action plan. He says the current board is changing that.
Given the number of times that the courts have thrown it out, I think it's really important we get it right.
The Climate Action Plan is just one part of a regional strategy aimed at charting the county's future. The document will have to work with the San Diego County General Plan changes, housing forecasts set by the San Diego Association of Governments, and include San Diego County plans to reduce the number of vehicle miles traveled on local roads. Fletcher says carving out a legally defensible plan takes effort.
We're doing the really hard, difficult, gritty work of putting these pieces together so that we can both meet our region's housing need and we can meet the environmental obligations we have.
Wednesday's meeting is the second time staff has updated supervisors on the Climate Action Plan. That's a change from the past, but Fletcher concedes the process still takes time.
We don't expect to complete our climate action plan until sometime in probably 2024, but we are working diligently to get it in place and to lower greenhouse gas emissions and do our part to tackle climate change.
We have to make sure at every level of government, we're taking unprecedented action as fast as possible to slash emissions and to prioritize climate justice.
Noah Harris works for the San Diego Climate Action Campaign. He's not encouraged by the long timeline, but he is pleased the county is talking about a commitment to decarbonize the region. And Harris says that's good for San Diego residents who usually feel the impact of bad planning.
We know that the climate crisis and environmental injustices have and will impact low-income communities and communities of color first and worst. So the county should prioritize all of those climate action investments in those historically underinvested communities. And that's something that they've been signaling they want to do, and we want to keep pushing them to make sure that they are using the cap to achieve climate justice.
County staff included residents, environmentalists, and developers in the planning process. Harris says it's better to have disagreements worked out in a planning room than in a courtroom.
After several years of fighting for a legally defensible climate action plan at the county, I'm optimistic, but we still need to keep pushing.
County staff will continue working with hopes of having a finished plan in place by 2024. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.